Okay, hello everyone. Hopefully you can hear me and I can see this time that we've got people dialing in already, so I know it's not private. Last time, in case you missed it, I actually spent 25 minutes streaming to myself. That was embarrassing. And then I had to redo everything that I'd done and edit the video later. So this time, I'm gonna try, well, you fail forward fast, right? So okay, what is this? This is a weekly thing where we stream for an hour, and it's basically Supabase build in public. And the goal is that we're going to build a few things live, but also then it helps you to see what happens behind the scenes in an open source organization. Maybe I can share a few things. You can ask them questions, whatever you want. That's sort of the meta goal, and probably actually really the primary goal. Building. There are lots of videos that do that. But this one's more about, sharing a bit more about open source. Hopefully getting more people into it. So this time, we are going to continue building Supabase Studio, and that's what we started last time. And Supabase Studio is essentially going to be our self-hosted dashboard. So just to recap, we have everything inside Supabase is open source, all the middleware. We provide Docker Compose, a Docker Compose file so you can self-host it and spin up your own projects. The only thing that isn't yet open sourced is this sort of dashboard editor, and we want to provide this too, except that it's got a bunch of our billing bundled up with it. So we're going to implement sort of a new version of this inside our main repo, and then people can use it and host their own dashboard. Okay, so let's get started and get straight into it so that it's not too boring. First thing is I've spun up a new project, and what we're going to do is, I'll show you something that we have inside our dashboard. Here we've got, let me just check that people are dialing in. Hey Fabio, seems like we've got one commenter and 10 people watching already, which is great. Okay, so we're inside Supabase, and I've got a brand new project. It's a Postgres database. Then what I'm going to do is just create some basic tables. I'm going to create a Slack clone. It's got some tables inside it. It's got some row level security. It's just some very basic stuff. And if I run that, now if I come back to my table editor, you'll see there's some tables. I don't know why these ones are there. Someone's actually updated this to be, obviously have row level security. I didn't know that, but that's great. You can see someone's implemented row level security within our Slack clone. Very cool. And what do we got? Some messages, some basic messages, and some tables. But there's another neat thing. That we got, which is our API docs. And these are auto-generating, so those tables that I just made, you'll see here if I come to the messages docs, you can see it's got some comments here, it's got some code snippets where we can copy and paste, and it just shows you, just how to use the JavaScript client with your database. And you can do, read foreign tables, so select through to the channels table. You can edit these descriptions, and they all are stored inside all of this information is stored inside your database. It's using Postgres sort of meta information. So what we're going to do is copy this whole dashboard, and you can see we didn't make much progress last month. We've just got basically a sidebar and the rough structure where a menu will be, and then a home page. And then we've got this sort of docs part. In fact, I've even got the wrong icon, but that's alright. For now, what we're going to do is flesh out what the docs might look like, and kind of put most of this structure into our local one. And in case you didn't join last time, we started building this with Next.js, and we're going to continue doing just that. So let me just double check. I need to check that. So what I'm going to do is just stop streaming for 1 second to make sure that I don't have anything sensitive inside my VS Code. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And yes, I actually had one of our private repos open. So now here is the other repository. And this is our main repository. It's open, out in the open, and you can see what we've got here is just this one. In fact, I'm going to make it very clear. I'm going to stop this one. It's inside GitHub Supabase, but it's a big repository, lots of different things inside it. So what I'm going to do is just open up a new VS Code which has just the studio. Okay, there you go. Now we can just focus on the studio. Okay, so let's look at the structure of this. We have some styles which actually I don't use modules very much. We use Tailwind, so I'm going to remove this one. And we've just got some global CSS which imports the Tailwind. So we're using Tailwind inside this one. Then we've got a you've got Hater dialed in. Hey Hater, if that's how I say your name, I'm not too sure. Sorry about that. Then we've got some pages, and the pages are actually our routes. Then we've got some components, and we've just got one layout, the dashboard layout, and one nav bar, the icon bar. So you can see here, this is the full layout, this is our icon bar, and then we've got two pages, which is basically the home page and the API docs. And if I jump back, then here you go, index, which is our home page, and our API docs. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to implement a, well, let's see what it looks like. First of all, we want to have some sort of sidebar. Yeah, I think what we're going to have is like a, and then we're going to have two sort of panes. And I'm going to build this from scratch rather than taking what we've got inside our other repo. That's because actually the other repo that we've got, our main repo, is JavaScript and it's a bit old, so we're just going to build it from scratch using TypeScript. So let's see. We're going to implement, first of all, a menu. Maybe, and I think all of our menus have this sort of header and then a, you know, just like some categories, and then yeah, something like that. So let's start off looking at the API docs and see if we can implement something very basic, just to make sure that we haven't left the menu bar behind. So what I want to do is pass it into our layout. If I look at our layout here, our layout, hopefully you can see that. It's probably super small. Let me zoom in a bit. Yeah. If that's not enough, just let me know and I'll zoom in even more. Okay, so we've got a layout, and you can see here we've got like a menu list that's going to go here. Now we want to receive in a menu list, and it's probably going to be of the form like yeah, well, let's think about it. So we've got our icon bars where we've got, I think we're going to have like basically a menu bar, which is going to be something like, it's going to have a title, which is going to be of type string. Then it's going to have array of menu, or let's call it categories, and there's going to be an array of maybe type menu bar items, which is going to be, so we're going to have an array of menu bar items, which is also going to have a label, which is going to be a string, and then it's going to probably have a bunch of React components, I guess, or a bunch of links links, which we'll call type menu bar links. And I think it's going to have also a label and probably, which is going to be a string, and maybe a href, which is also going to be a string. So now we need to pass in maybe a menu, which is going to be optional menu of type menu bar. Then actually, if this is not passed in, I should just not show this menu list here. So yeah. I think if I do this, then it's not actually, it's going to show. We haven't actually connected. Let me just run terminal, npm run dev. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So it hasn't rendered it, but here, well, as well, it hasn't rendered it here. So the idea is that if we do pass in a menu here, then let's see, I think that one needs to be not an empty array. Expected the type menu, which is declared here. Yeah, and it should have basically, it should have a title. So title equals API, something like that. Categories, we'll just make this for now an optional field, then that should work. Okay, there you go, it's got the menu list. Then we want to render that title. In fact, so the title is API. Now, probably this will get refactored out, but I don't want to refactor out right now. So what I'll do is just make it a function, which will make it much easier to refactor into a functional component later on. So here I'm going to do const render menu, and that will then, hey Ollie, no. Also, not sure if that's how I say your name, but welcome to the stream. Okay, so we're going to render the menu here, and it's going to take this menu, which is of type menu. I think actually menu bar, I think actually we don't need that, it should be implied. But then we're going to return all of this, div, what's going on here? Did not like that. Okay, cannot find class name. That's why. Render menu. Nope, what am I doing wrong here? Okay, so I've got a const menu, I'm inside, return. If I copy out here, cannot be used, it's returning void. I think I must have some, I'm missing it, this little thing here, oops. That's better. Okay, now also this is very long, you'll see the class name. So what I'm going to do, just to make this a little bit more readable, this, if you haven't seen it, is just all, this is all Tailwind classes. Pretty simple. Opening div, thanks Tyler. Yeah, I think you spotted it before I did. But let me just make this smaller. So I'm just going to put this into a nice clean array so we can read it a little bit. I'm going to put this, then this, going to then I'll put all the dark stuff, dark, it's got a border. I'll move that to the front, hide scroll bar, that's all important stuff. We'll just do that as the layout. And then it's an array, so I need to turn it not into an array. I'm going to join that all together into a string. Okay, so that means we've got our layout here and some of our light mode, and then some of our dark mode, which we're not actually doing. We'll have to implement that probably in a later stream. And this one is going to render the side menu. Format that. Okay, now this one requires the menu, so I'm going to pass it in. Fairly functional. And then the only thing I need to do right here is probably an H1, and it's going to take a menu dot title. And that one actually class I know from the other like from our dashboard, it's got a border at the bottom, so I'll give that a border B, and it's actually got some padding, I think P4, and I'm just going to put that padding in. There you go. So it's quite nice. Now the only thing is, I think our design guy would not like me putting these headings in and padding like this. So what I'm going to do is import. I'm going to import, I think it's typography. We've got a UI library, which is you can find under UI, ui.supabase.com, and this is sort of our style guide for our dashboard. This makes sure that everything is consistent, and you can see actually there is a side menu here, so I probably need to use that. However this is implemented, we'll have to do the same inside here. So what I'm going to do is I will, here we go, I'm going to use this typography, and I think I can just change this, and I don't actually know how to use it. It's somewhere here, typography, then it's level 1, so a title, const. So this one is a title, and it's level 1. Now ideally that has formatted it. Wow, it's very big. Let's make that a level 3. Okay, it's good enough. We're getting the bones of the API docs. I don't want to. Hey Andreas, hey from Colombia. Actually, that's quite interesting. We've got a few people dialed in. Would love to know where you're dialing in from. I know the timing's not great for like the US, probably just waking up. I'm in Singapore right now, so it's nearly 8 o'clock. Yeah, so this is an evening stream for me. Thanks for those who are dialing in during work hours. I appreciate it. Okay, while people contemplate where they're living, I will continue on. And what I want to do, actually, I explained this last time, is that we actually build these docs from something called OpenAPI, and we actually expose the OpenAPI. If I come in here to the API, I'm going to show you the keys. It won't matter because I'll restrict out this website. But here is the API for my project. And if I go to it, in particular, if I go to REST v1 and then I hit this, I'll get a no API key found because we have key auth. Hello from Latvia. Wow, crazy. Thanks for the EU friendly stream. Okay, yeah, you're welcome. Until I move to the US, then I guess that's how it's going to be. Okay, so now we've got a API error. So all I need to do to get to the Swagger documentation or the Open API docs is take this anon key and I'll append it here. If I go API key equals, then you'll see a whole bunch of Swagger here, and you can see even if I collapse this one, the definitions. For example, we had a table called messages, and you see here, here's the description of the table, here's some properties for the table. It's got an ID, it's got an inserted at, just zoom in on that so you can read that. It's got a message which is of type string text. Yeah, so what we're going to do is use this Swagger or the Open API to actually build up these docs that look like what I showed before. So first of all, I'm going to commit I'll clean up this for a bit. I need to save this. Okay, this is going to cleans adds side menu logic. Okay, push on these. Okay, so now we're going to get to the meat of this. First thing I need to do is fetch. Derwind is asking, is the function feature near? Yeah, we actually got a few things that we're working on in this domain. So actually what I can say is that we are going to do, I'll do a release post probably in the next 2 days for everything that we shipped in June. But yeah, we're going to do another launch week. I don't know if anyone, if people watching were dialed in we're using Supabase in March, but actually what we did at the end of March was a launch week where we launched one thing every day for a week. It's crazy, it's a bit hectic, and maybe even if I do a live stream when we're launching, the plan is we're going to do another one at the end of July. So we're going to ship 5 things every day for a week again on the last week of July. There will be a few things around, maybe functions and triggers and all sorts of stuff, all sorts of Supabase goodness. And actually, now that I think about it, maybe even we do a live stream while we're shipping some of the stuff. It could be quite fun, and we'll get everyone to dial in and watch the team ship. That'll be quite fun. But we'll give more information once I actually have some clarity around it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we need to fetch this Swagger docs, first of all, inside the Next.js app that we're building, and then we'll use it to build a bunch of stuff. Now, I don't know if we're going to consistently use this SWR, but we are using it at the moment, and we use also MobX. So what I'll do is I'm going to use this for now, but I'll put everything in. I'll do some sort of separation of concern so that we actually can swap this out if we decide not to use SWR. So what I'm going to do, if you don't know what SWR is, it's stale while refresh. And what it does is that anytime you receive focus to a window, it'll refetch any data that you previously fetched. And that's quite handy so that you don't have any staleness as you jump around the app. It's just very convenient. It's built by Vercel, actually. So it's quite a cool library. They've got a lot of nice open source stuff. And I'm going to, first of all, add this, install it. And I've never actually done it this way, that they say using the native fetch within browsers. But I'm going to do it this way for now. So what we need to do is, I'll just start that up again. I want to, as I said, keep some sort of separation of concerns, just in case we decide that we're going to swap it out. And I don't know sort of the structure yet, but I think what I'm going to do is just put an API TS here, and we'll put all of our API requests or our network requests in here for now. Then it's just one place that we can swap out the SWR if we decide we want to, rather than scattering it all throughout our app. So here, first of all, I can see that I've got to do this const fetcher, which takes args any. That's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know, how do I quick fix this? Any, and then this one as well. I'm just going to no quick fix available. Why can I not? Spread argument must have either a tuple. Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do is TS ignore this one. TS ignore line, just because I really don't want to. That's, how do I ignore just a line? Does anyone know? Use type unknown. Okay. Unknown. Also doesn't work. Type unknown. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to ignore that line. Ignore line, the single comment. Oops, probably not that one. Might have to switch to Google. Why is it not that one? For a specific line. Ignore error, that's a specific error. Disable line. That's ESLint. Anyone know what it is? Unknown args. Okay. Still has this args problem. Then someone's Andrew. This is how I use my Supabase. I put all my into an API.js. Yeah, unknown can be good too. Fetch uses two args, a string in the first, which is the URL, and the second is an object. Okay, so it should be of type then. Well, I'd rather. How would I do that then? It's going to be what? A string. Oh well, the thing is, it's going to not return. Alright, we're just definitely going to pursue the disable line. TSLint. And I know why that one doesn't work. This is why I prefer to hack away on. It's because this is. I need to get to the bottom of this. Really doesn't ignore it, but maybe someone else can drop an example in, and while I hack away, I am going to continue on with this. So, what do we got? SWR here. I'm going to import this from here because I'm going to use it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do like a fetch. So I'm going to have a function which is going to be const fetch open API spec, and that one should. The only thing is that I don't actually know if I can use this outside of the React component. We'll soon find out. Return this and export const And what that's going to do is okay, yeah, so actually we first need to set up our Supabase JS client, which is going to have a URL and key. So here we've got the URL and key. In fact, I'm just going to now make sure that I've got a .env file. What do we got? So React Next.js with .env should take, and these are both going to be exposed on the client. So I think it should be next Supabase API Supabase URL equals, that's going to be string, and then next Supabase anon key. That's great. And that one I need to check next JS env vars how you declare them, because I think it might be next JS environment to the browser. Notice next. Okay, that's great. Great. And then we can just use inside here, inside our constants, I'm going to do I'm going to use this one for the Supabase URL, and then I'm going to do the same for the anon key, Supabase anon key env. Okay, now I'm going to go back. I know that my URL is this, so I'm going to put that inside the .env, and I'll make that. Don't need to do this, but I will. Then our API key, which is our anon key, exposed to the browser as well, no worries, put that there. Okay, now this one, next public. Okay, thank you. Someone just told me that it needs to be next public, which is great. Next public, next public, and I'll do the same here. Okay, cool. Okay, const fetcher. Someone's saying that I can do like this for this. Not sure. Not sure. If you give me the full thing, then maybe I'm getting that wrong, but yeah. Okay, so export const function fetch open API spec, and we need to create a Supabase. Yeah, we want to initialize the Supabase JS client, so I'm going to create a new file here called Supabase .ts, and this one is going to initialize the Supabase client, and from there we can actually make a request. Do I want to do it that way? That's because actually you don't use the Supabase client to get this. In fact, you cannot use the Supabase client to get this. You have to make a network request directly to /rest/v1. So let's do that. I'll remove this file, and inside the API, I'm going to first do const URL, which is going to be, I need to import this one, Supabase URL equals, okay, import Supabase URL from, where's this, constants. So the URL that we're going to make a request from is actually going to be that URL. Then /rest/v1. Then I do need the final thing on it. Then actually we want to put on, we can just append the API key. So here if we go like this, we'll clean this up later, but for now we can go like this, API key equals const fetcher. The solution was just looking at fetches type. Okay, looks like RT for the win. Let's see if it works. Yep, perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. Looks very clean. Input init fetcher input init. Okay. It looks confusing, but it works, so that's great. Okay. So this one should, in theory, we should be able to do a GET request. Let's format this a bit to within these docs we should be able to get const this SWR. I think it returns data error equals like this. So I need to import import. Yep, great. Now what I'm going to do is log, let's just log that and see if we get any data back. Here. This one. Nope. This one. Okay. The moment of truth. Thanks, RT. That fetcher that you wrote was great. Okay, not found. Yeah, that's because we need to restart our Next.js app. It's not detecting the API, the env files. Oh, actually, I think it should be .env.local, right? Possibly. We'll soon find out. Still building, or what's happening? Yeah, I suspect local .env.local to load. Yeah, okay. So actually this one, we want to call it .env.local for our local development. Then come back to this once it's loaded. Okay, great. It did actually load up. That's interesting. Just took a long time. Okay, you can see here we've actually got the data. One thing that I wanted to test was whether if we switch streams, switch tabs, it doesn't fetch again. So actually it's probably not going to work the way that I originally intended. So let me do this. API, we're going to move all of this to here. And it shouldn't matter, we just need to change the fetcher. Unfortunately, we're going to have to still use this. Let's see if it actually works like that. .lib. Close that. Import fetcher. Export fetcher. SWR. If this also doesn't work, then no worries. Well, okay, so there, it's fetching it, right? Now, in theory, maybe it's just because the network... it is doing the get, it's just not re-rendering console network, so it does do it multiple times. There you go, yeah. Now, the question was, if I had left it how it was it? So that's fetching, network, jump between. Ah, yeah, it does. That's quite cool. Alright, great. Then we can actually leave. We can leave it all in one API folder, which is quite nice. Okay, so returns the open API docs for docs for the projects API. Yeah, something like that. That one should probably be a... I don't know why it keeps indenting for me. Probably because this. Not sure. Okay, alright, so now we've got the data inside here. What we want to do is actually get out, there's one called definitions. Now the only thing is, I did see one thing, I haven't tried this, but I saw that this library supports suspense. Actually, well, we've only got 15 minutes left. Gosh, this hour always goes very fast. So maybe let's not do suspense now, we'll just implement some of this, the definitions. So inside this data, you'll see that console data has this thing definitions, which is an object. And inside it, well, we'll go like this. So basically if what we can do is not data, okay, return loading, div loading, but below here we should have, once we've got the data, const definitions from the data, and that's an S. The definitions are literally just the tables that we have. So, yep, I've logged them out. Channels, messages, roles. Now the only thing is, it's an object. So let's get the definitions. We'll get, first of all, the table names will be object dot keys of the definitions. Let's check that out. Yep, so there we've got now an array of table names, which if I was to put in here, let's just go table names, table names, table names dot, oops, dot map, div key equals x x. Don't know why this is complaining. Dashboard layout. Ah, it's because this needs to have only a single element inside it. Yep. Okay, so now we've got channels, messages, role permissions, user roles, and users. These are all our tables inside our database. Okay, so now that we've got that, they're actually meant to be inside here. So we can clean that up. We can move them there. I think we implemented at the start, in case you weren't there, actually this sidebar is inside our dashboard layout. And this one is expecting some menu bar items, a category, and some menu bar links. So the category is going to be a label, and these are our tables, I think. Yeah, the only thing is, I think we might have to get functions, but for now, let's just do, let's assume that they're all tables. So we're going to pass in, we're going to construct this sidebar. Let's do it. Docs, here, we're going to have categories, render, render, build, sidebar. It's going to be a function. So const build sidebar, which should take in our, okay, that should return a lot of menu bar items, which is not exported. So what we're going to do is return something here. We'll have to move this menu bar items to a types file that's globally accessible. Okay, now we want to put a category, so we're going to have a object of type, where is it? A label, tables, label, tables, and we are going to have some links, which are going to be, let's see, of type label and href. So we're going to do an array. Well, here we go. We go table names, dot map, name, and then it's going to return an object with the label, which is just the name itself, and the href, which is going to be something like, I think it's going to be something like slash docs slash the name of the table. Something like this. Format that. Okay, now if I close that up, we have build sidebar. We should actually pass in the, well, table names. And this one's going to take, yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with functional. I need to, this one's a string array. Great. Format, clean it up. Oops. Format our doc. Great. Okay, so let's see. We have passed it in. Now we can come to our dashboard sidebar, and we're going to implement that same sidebar, render menu here. The menu will iterate through. So it's got a title, then maybe it's going to have a div, and this is going to render through the menu dot categories, right? Menu dot categories dot map. This one actually is going to category. We can actually put the div inside this rather than outside. Div. Now remove this one just to make it even cleaner. And we here are going to render first of all typography.title. I think actually I should be using something else, which is like the menu. We've got a menu component, but I'm just going to do this very quickly for now. 6, and we're going to put the category inside it. Level 6 doesn't go to 6, maybe 5. Yep. Okay, we don't have any keys if you meant to render. Okay. Key equals that's category dot label. Okay, so we've got the tables header. Now we just need to then go one level deeper. We can tidy this up once again later on, but it's going to be basically we're going to category dot links dot map. So we're going to map through all of them. The link. Then we are going to output maybe it's going to be actually an A, but I'm going to put a div around it for now. Div and A tag with the href equals. This one we need to change to a Next.js link, but this is going to be link dot href. The div is going to have a key of link dot label. That should be unique. And then inside the anchor tag we'll put the title. So what are we missing here? Div has no corresponding closing tag. I don't know why that is, because it should do. It's to do with this. Yep, it's do that, take that, do that. Yeah, now what's happening? I've confused my editor. Let me just take this whole block out. See, that's working. So now I need to probably cannot put inside. Okay. I need to collect up these into probably a different I can't put it inside a map inside a. Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? So I'm going to get here the links, which will be. Is that right? How can I not have that inside? Link.label. I think it's because I cannot embed two Yeah, okay, yeah. Rookie error. Okay, there. Then the map needs to close. There we go. Thought it was very strange. Okay, so now we have essentially all of our tables rendered on the side. And you know, they're linking. If you look down the bottom, they are linking to all the various locations where we're going to re-render each of these, each of these pages. Where is it? Like here. So that's a good start. I'm just going to now do a little bit of cleanup. In fact, what I'll do is cleanup's going to be a bit boring. So I'm going to remove the table names from here, and I'm going to check in the code, and then what I'll do is clean it up over the week so that the code is just a lot tidier, and then we can come back and hopefully make a bit of progress on the rest of the docs. Yep. So yeah, that's it. I think yeah, that was some small progress. I think if we keep doing this hour by hour, we won't finish this thing for many months. So if you're watching and you want to contribute to this, what I'm going to do is commit this in. I'm going to create a branch on, well, the branch is already created on our main repo. And then if you want to fork it and start contributing to it even during the week, whatever you want, you can. There's nothing that we have to do on the stream. It doesn't have to be done all by me. It's going to be a community effort, and would love to have your help. So if anyone wants to jump into this, just fork our main repository, jump into the /feet/studio, and then you can help me build this. And then when we come back next week, maybe even those who have helped build it can jump on the stream at some point, and we'll go through what you've done. Cool. Okay, so that's all for now. Let's catch up again next week. Thanks for dialing in. Ciao.